They laughed when Nora Harlan turned down the rental pump and started hauling spoiled straw bales up the ridge above her cattle pond. By noon, Buck Tanner told everyone at the feed store she was trying to carpet a drought. But Nora was not trying to put water into the pond. She was trying to stitch shut the hill that had been letting the water leave. The rental man came on a Tuesday morning with a flatbed trailer, 2 blue hoses, and a pump loud enough to make every cow in the lower pasture lift its head. His name was Evan Crow. He had a clean ball cap, clean boots, and the kind of clipboard confidence that made a problem sound solved before he had even looked at the ground. Nora stood beside the pond in a faded canvas coat. The water had fallen so low the clay banks showed like old teeth. A ring of dead grass marked where the shoreline used to be. Dragonflies still flickered above the surface, but they had less sky to work with. Evan pointed to the pump. "This rig will move water quick," he said. "Pull from the back creek, push through the line, and you'll have this pond up before the heat finishes it." Nora looked at the pond. Then she turned toward the rise above the east bank, where a narrow gully cut through the pasture in a crooked brown seam. "How much to rent it?" Evan gave the number. Nora did not move her face, but the price landed hard. It was almost what she had saved for winter feed. Cal Sweet leaned against the fence and let out a low whistle. "That's not pocket money." Buck Tanner laughed. "Neither is a dry pond." Evan gave Nora a careful smile. "If it goes lower, you'll spend more hauling water than you spend on this." Nora knew he was not lying. That pond watered 43 head when the lower troughs ran thin. It caught spring runoff. It had carried the farm through mean summers before. But her grandmother May had never talked about that pond like it was a tank, waiting for somebody to pour water into it. May talked about it like cloth. If the cloth was torn above the hem would never hold. Nora looked back at the brown seam on the ridge. "I'm not renting the pump." Evan blinked. Cal pushed himself off the fence. "You're not?" "No." Buck grinned. "Then what's the miracle plan?" Nora turned toward the old hay shed. "I'm going to lay straw." By noon, she was dragging out the bales nobody wanted. Not good feed, not clean bedding. The spoiled straw blocks at the back of the shed, damp on one side, sun-faded on the other, tied with twine that had gone gray. Cal and Buck stayed at the fence long enough to enjoy the picture. Buck called out, "Nora, that pond needs water, not a mattress." She heaved one bale onto the wagon. "No," she said. "It needs the rain to quit running past it." That night, Nora took her grandmother's oilskin notebook from the kitchen drawer. May Harlan had written in it for 27 years. The cover was brown and cracked along the fold. The pages smelled faintly of dust, pencil, and the damp hands of a woman who had written things down in every season. May recorded what other people only complained about: rainfall, pond edge marks, which ditch deepened after storms, which slope greened first in April, which patch of grass stayed yellow after a wet week, where mud carried red clay, where clear water still crawled. Nora turned to the section labeled East Pond. May's handwriting was tight and slanted. Pond dropping after hard rains means water is passing, not missing. Repair East Gully. Slow first rush. Catch the red silt before it cuts deeper. Nora read the lines twice. Then she found the small map. It was not pretty. Just a pencil sketch of the pond, the ridge, the gully, and a series of short cross marks that looked almost like stitches across a wound. Beside them, May had written, "Straw bales in broken rows. Brush behind. Small gaps. Let water spread. Let ground drink." Nora sat back and listened to the quiet kitchen. Outside, the pond lay dark and low under a moon thin as a fingernail. For 3 summers, everyone had blamed the sky. May had blamed the cut in the hill. That was the difference. Most people saw an empty pond and looked for more water. May saw water leaving and looked for the tier. The next morning, Nora hauled the first load to the ridge. She did not stack the bales at the pond bank. That would have made sense to the men watching from the road. Instead, she set them across the gully above the east bank, not as a wall, but as broken rows. A bale high, a gap lower, another two set sideways. Enough room for water to pass. Not enough room for it to run like a thief. Evan came back because he had left the rental paper on the passenger seat and still thought Nora might change her mind. He found her knee-deep in burr grass, shoving a straw bale into the gully with one shoulder. "You know a bale won't stop a storm," he said. Nora wiped sweat from her cheek. "I don't need it to stop a storm," Buck snorted from the fence. "She just needs it to teach the creek to walk." Nora looked up. "Closer than you meant to be." Cal frowned. "You really think spoiled straw is going to save that pond?" Nora pointed down the cut. "This used to be a grass swale. Now every hard rain turns it into a chute. Water hits the slope, gathers speed, drags clay with it, and goes past the pond before the bank can take a sip." Evan folded his arms. "A pump would raise the water. And the next storm?" No one answered. Nora went back to work. She drove cedar stakes through the first row, packed brush behind the second, turned the third slightly toward the pond's shoulder, just like May's map showed. By late afternoon, the ridge looked foolish from the lane. Spoiled straw bales lay in crooked lines across a dry hillside. A woman with mud on her knees tied twine around a system nobody else could see. To a passerby, it looked like stubbornness. To Nora, it looked like her grandmother's pencil finally standing up in the grass. For 2 days, nothing proved her right. The sky stayed bright and empty. The pond stayed low. The straw sat there, dry on top, damp underneath, and ugly from every angle. Buck drove past once with his window down and shook his head so hard Nora could see it from the barn. Cal did not laugh as loudly the second day. But he still did not walk up the ridge. On the third afternoon, Nora went out with May's notebook tucked inside her coat. She started at the top row, there behind the first bale. A small fan of red silt had settled where the ground usually stayed bare. Below the second row, the gully floor was no longer polished clean. The water from the last little shower had spread enough to leave dark soil under the grass stems. At the third row, the cut had bent a few inches toward the pond bank, instead of slicing straight past it. Small evidence, almost invisible. But farms do not always speak in thunder. Sometimes they speak in damp dirt behind a bale nobody respected. Nora knelt and pressed 2 fingers into the silt. "All right, May." The rain came that night. Not polite rain, hard rain. The kind that hits a metal roof like thrown gravel and turns every ditch on the farm into a voice. Nora woke before midnight. She pulled on boots, grabbed a flashlight, and ran outside with her coat hanging open. Water was already coming off the ridge, brown, fast, loud. At the fence, truck lights glowed through the rain. Cal had come, so had Buck. Evan's flatbed was still parked near the lane because he had not given up on proving the pump was the sensible choice. Buck shouted over the storm, "Those bales are going straight into your pond." Nora did not answer. She watched the top row. The first rush hit the straw and spread sideways. Some pushed through, some slowed. Clay dropped. The water below the first row was still brown, but it had lost its knife edge. Then it hit the second row, spread again, dropped more silt. By the third row, it was no longer carving, it was fanning, not racing down the old chute, not ripping past the pond, turning, widening, losing its anger. Nora moved down the slope with the flashlight, shaking in her hand. One bale shuddered loose, rolled half a turn, and caught against a cedar stake. Another sagged and split at the corner. But the rows did not have to last forever. They had to last long enough. Water gathered behind the lowest row, rose against the straw, then slipped through the gap May had marked decades earlier. It came out in a broad muddy sheet and spread across the east shoulder of the pond. No deep cut, no tearing channel, just water, slowed enough to become useful. Nora stood in the rain and watched the first brown sheet slide into the pond. For a moment, she forgot the men at the fence. She forgot Evan's clipboard. She forgot the number he had said out loud. She saw only what May had seen before anyone else bothered to look. The pond had not been refusing rain. The hill had been losing it before it reached home. By morning, the storm had moved east. Mist hung low over the pasture. The pond was not full. Nora had never expected full. But the waterline had risen to a place nobody could argue with. The lowest cracked ring of clay had disappeared. Grass at the edge bent under fresh wetness. A thin trickle still came down from the ridge, clearer than the water in the night, carrying less clay and more patience. Cal walked down first. He stood beside the pond with his hands in his coat pockets. "Well," he said. Buck came beside him and stared. "I thought they'd all wash out." "Two moved," Nora said. "Most held. For how long?" "Long enough." Evan walked the gully with his clipboard tucked under his rain jacket. He looked at the silt caught behind the straw. He looked at the grass blades no longer flattened into the cut. He looked at the pond edge and said nothing for a while. At last he cleared his throat. "The pump would have raised it faster." Nora nodded. "Yes, but it wouldn't have closed that." He pointed to the gully. Nora did not answer. She did not need to. 2 days later, the county soil conservation woman came out. Her name was June Alvarez, and she had a measuring rod, mud on her tires, and the kind of calm that made people stop performing. She walked the ridge with May's notebook in one hand. She measured the gully depth, checked the straw rows, studied the silt fans. Then she looked at Nora. "Your grandmother understood runoff better than half the people who call my office." Nora swallowed. She watched this place longer than anyone paid her for. June nodded. "That's usually where the best records come from." Cal scratched the back of his neck. "So the pump was wrong?" June looked toward the pond. "Not wrong. Temporary." Then she pointed at the ridge. "If the slope keeps shedding water this fast, she can rent a pump every dry spell and still lose the same fight. The problem is not only how much water is in the pond. It's how fast the land above it lets water pass." Buck looked at the silt caught behind the straw. "So the trash bales did something." June's mouth twitched. "They acted like small check dams, rough ones, temporary ones, but enough to show the original flow path." Evan lowered his clipboard. Nobody laughed then. By the end of the week, Nora had replaced the broken bales. June helped her mark a permanent grassed contour. They added cedar brush, stones, seed, and a low line of woven willow where the water needed slowing most. The straw bales were not the final fix. May had known that. They were the first stitch. They slowed the rush long enough to reveal where the tier was. They caught enough red silt to soften the bottom of the cut. They proved the pond still had a way to receive water if the hill stopped throwing it away. Over the next 6 weeks, 3 ordinary rains came. Not storms, not miracles. Just the kind of rain farmers usually forget to praise, because it does not arrive with drama. After each one, Nora walked the pond bank and marked the waterline on a cedar post. First mark, then another, then a third, higher than the last by the width of her thumb. The east bank stayed wet longer. The gully stopped shining bare after runoff. Tiny grass shoots came up through the red silt behind the lowest row. Frogs returned at dusk, not in a choir yet, but in a few uncertain notes from the reeds. That was enough. Good land does not always come back with a shout. Sometimes it clears its throat. One evening, Cal found Nora tying fresh twine around a bale that had started to sag. He leaned on the fence and looked up the ridge. I thought you were fixing the pond, he said. Nora tightened the knot. I was. Cal pointed to the slope. Looks like you fixed the hill. Nora smiled for the first time in days. That's where the pond was leaking. Inside the kitchen that night, Nora opened May's notebook to the East Pond page. The old pencil marks had smudged at the edges. Nora took a pen and wrote under her grandmother's note. First rose held through hard rain. Silt caught. East Bank drinking again. Then she paused. Below that, she added, you saw the tear. I only learned how to stitch it. She left the notebook open until the ink dried. Outside, the pond was dark. The frogs called again from the reeds, soft and uneven, as if the farm were remembering a song it had nearly lost. Nora stood in the kitchen and listened. The pond had not come back all at once. Almost nothing worth keeping ever does. But the water had stayed. And staying was the beginning. The rental man had seen a low pond and brought a machine. May had seen the ridge above it and left a map. Nora had only done what old farm wisdom often asks a person to do. Kneel in the mud, look above the problem, and mend the place where the answer was leaving.